Are your lower abs actually impossible to train? I'm Dr. Brad, and today we're gonna find out. I'm sure you've seen a million videos of guys and gals doing exercises like this, and like this, and like that. Maybe you have a physical therapist or a personal trainer that's told you your abs are weak. So you go online or you go onto social media to find different exercises to help you strengthen them. Sadly, to no avail. Well, I believe exercise should be simple, effective, and should make a positive impact in your life. So here we are. First things first, you might be able to train your lower abs, but let's keep exploring. If you want to understand how to train your lower abs, you need to understand anatomy. These right here are your six-pack muscles. Good news is you have them. The medium-ish news is that you may not have won the genetic lottery to give you a beautiful 6 or 8-pack. Now these white bands here that run across the six-pack muscles are what create the six-pack. It's what creates the separation of the abdominal muscles that gives it that 6 or 8-pack look. Humans are not able to create more of these just by training. However, you can make your abdominal muscles bigger and stronger through training. So now we return to the question, can you train your lower abs? But not just can you train them, can you specifically train them? Can you isolate the lower abs to make them stronger and leave the upper abs alone? Personally, I think this is very unlikely. Like basically, it's impossible to train the lower abs in isolation. Even though the abdominal muscles do share slightly different innervations as they descend down the trunk, it doesn't mean that they contract apart from each other. The abdominal muscles contract as a unit, and it uses those little white bands of fascia to pull on to generate more force. You and I are going to do an experiment right now to check this. I want you to take your thumbs and put them on your upper abs, and then take a finger and put it on your lower abs, and then I want you to cough like this. Did you catch that? Did you notice how you felt tension and tightness under the lower abs and the upper abs? It's because they work as one. If one end of your muscle is working really hard and the other end was flopping around in the wind, you wouldn't actually have a good contraction between the 2 points, and you wouldn't have the appropriate function of the abs taking place. And I know there's gonna be people on here like,
but Brad, I saw a guy online that said you could isolate your lower abs and that I probably have weak lower abs.
well, at best these people are trying to help you find a way to bias your lower abs based on maybe creating a certain arch in your back or something like that. And at worst, they're just lying to you, which seems pretty likely. Okay, so now we know that you can't train your lower abs in isolation, and you don't need to. But earlier I said you might be able to train them. How do we reconcile these competing ideas? Well, anytime you train your six-pack muscles, you are training upper abs and lower abs. So give yourself a round of applause, because if you are training your abs at all, then you are training your lower abs. Now the nice thing is you can train your abs in different positions and with different movements so that you can stimulate them in different ways and get better results.
And now, the exercises.
Let's take a look at crunches. When I do a crunch, the whole length of my abs contract, upper and lower, just like we've talked about. Now, I can make a change by putting some towels under my back to kind of create more of an arch and thus more of a stretch in the abdominals. This increased stretch provides an increased amount of tension throughout the muscle as you do the exercise, and so that can potentially drive some hypertrophy or growing of the muscle compared to a standard crunch.
Great for the lower abs.
Now take kneeling cable crunches, for example. The reason this exercise is good is that you can slowly progress the weight over time. You do have gravity assisting you partially. However, if you can find a way to anchor yourself, then this is an awesome exercise that you can slowly progress over time.
Great for the lower abs.
Okay, but do not underestimate the crunch, because I have a spicy variation for you that I bet you have not seen. So just take a weight, hold it over your shoulders, and then push that weight up toward the ceiling while you crunch. You might need your feet under something because oftentimes we try to compensate by lifting our feet away from the floor, but slipping your feet under some dumbbells, or I like to use my Nordstick rack attachment, that seems to work fine for most people. Another nice thing about this exercise is just like the kneeling cable crunch, you can progress this with weight over time. Toes to bar is another really good exercise that you can use to strengthen the abs. It's a really good way to get stretch in as well. If you put a bar behind your back, you can actually bias your abs even a little bit more. You can get a deeper stretch, and this becomes an awesome ab exercise.
Great for the lower abs.
All right, so these are just a few exercises to get you started.
But Brad, you forgot about planks.
No, I didn't. Plank may train your abs to some degree, but it's a static exercise and it can be hard to get good muscle growth and a good increase in muscle strength, true strength, from doing a static hold. It will improve muscular endurance for the muscles that you're using during a plank. Just make sure that the exercises you're choosing match the goals that you have. By the way, if you've seen how simple it is to exercise and how simple these movements are, then please subscribe. We are on the march to 1,000 subscribers, so why not be one of the first? My goal is to make the technical things of exercise not technical. I want people to understand how simple it is to exercise and how simple it is to stay fit. It may not always be easy, but if you want to see how exercise can change your life, then make sure that you stick around. Plus, if you subscribe, it actually really helps my channel because I'm brand new. Okay, so now you have a few exercises in your tool belt. Fantastic. But if you leave right now, you're probably not gonna get anywhere. This is because you need to understand how to apply these exercises in real life. I can give you 50 exercises. I can give you 1 billion exercises. But if you don't know how to use them, you won't make any progress. So the basic guidelines, there are 3. Number 1, train in close proximity to failure. Number 2, do about 2 to 5 sets per exercise. Number 3, train about 2 to 3 times a week. As an example, let's say you go training Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then when you get there, you do 3 sets of weighted crunches. You take your first 2 sets close to failure and your last set all the way to failure. You have just completed a successful training regimen. Just know these guidelines are a starting point. You may need more or less work than this. Everyone is individual, so make adaptations as needed. In order to find it out though, you do have to put in the effort. Basically, a good test that I use for this is that if you don't need 1 to 1.5 minutes, and I mean really need it, if you don't need that full 90 seconds of rest, you're probably not training hard enough. If you can jump right back into the same exercise and do the same number of repetitions with the same weight within a minute of resting, you just need to up your intensity. You need to up the weight or you need to up the repetitions. By the end of each set, you should be very, very close to the point where you physically cannot do another repetition. Welcome to muscular failure. If you're training your abs to get stronger or bigger, then just getting 1 to 3 repetitions away from that true muscular failure point is good enough. The more you practice training and getting close to failure and getting all the way to failure, the better you'll be at estimating when you're at 1 to 3 reps away. Don't be intimidated by needing to train to failure with every set. It's just not necessary. If you're struggling to find motivation to work out at home, make sure you watch this video.